The idea of the Zelter Shelter, it hatched inside me a long time ago. I took some survival training as a youngster and did a lot of wild camping with friends, and that's just something we did a lot. We'd outdo each other with improvised shelters. You know, I'd use a poncho, we'd use tree boughs, we'd have a parachute. All these things of making improvised shelters were formative for me. Waking up wet, using old army shelter halves. And these were formative experiences. I thought years later as a designer, I would go back and I could top that. And that's what I set out to do. I wanted a small personal shelter that you could also wear. This is a bit of a skill tester really, and it ended up being a really workable concept and well executed. My name is Lee Price. I'm an industrial designer. I'm founder of Zelter, creator of the Zelter Shelter, this new concept in personal shelter you see behind us here. As a designer, it was my passion for technology, for the outdoors, and for good design that led me to create this shelter. You know, in my formative years, I'd been outside in the rain, at night, unprepared, soaking wet. It was those formative experiences combining to help me go back later and come up with a piece of gear that would help improve all that outcome for people. What the Zelter Shelter does for anybody who's thinking about trying one out for themselves. The Zelter Shelter combines a lot of items and a lot of utility that most people in the outdoors would want to carry with them. You've got shelter, you've got something that you can wear, and this is all combined in one nice article. It rolls up into a small bundle. It comes in a high quality waterproof dry bag with all the instructions printed right on it. You know, I was inspired by the flight safety posters you find in an aircraft. Just nice, simple instructions. So here it is. You get this compact tent. You can unroll the tent and use it as a tarp. You've got nice grommets, tie-down points on every corner and every peak. You have many options with how you can pitch this, using inflatables, using a pole if you'd like to, stretching it out with your own cordage, and it works like a poncho. So this kind of versatility, the lightweight, the incredibly high spec of the material, all combined to make something that gives you some good use. This is for people who might, you know, their job might take them outdoors. They like to go outside for recreation on the weekend, sport or hunting or fishing, or in a survival kit or a bug out bag. Some people will keep it in the vehicle for, you know, in case they're out somewhere. It fits into a lot of scenarios, and it's very compact. It's all fabric, easy to store. There's no poles. It comes with pegs. What do you want? It's all that in a bag. You know, I invented something that I'd like to have with me for my thing, and I think a lot of other people want to have that too. When I hatched the idea, I wanted to create a wearable personal shelter. So I was exploring forms in paper and in fabric at a smaller scale, ways you can enclose the body. I set off from a very abstract perspective. I was coming up with things like suits and sleeping bags and, you know, sleeves and trouser legs that would enclose the whole body, stuff that was quite detailed and complicated. Eventually I kind of distilled the idea down and found this nice kind of pyramid form. I explored ways of draping that fabric in persons to cover the body, and I came up on this nice flat pattern that exists in the Zelter Shelter today that makes a nice tent that you can zip together to make the tent. You can unzip it to make a nice tarp to cover other space, and it also folds and closes around you to make a poncho. It's a bit of a win-win. The Zelter Shelter comes in two versions. There's the original wearable version that you can wear, and there's also a simplified tent tarp version. Not everybody intends to wear something like that, so we have a version for them as well. The overall weight is about 1.3 kilos, 1,300 grams for the wearable. The non-wearable is lighter, it's 1.2 kilos, and that's because you don't have the hood, some buckles, some straps and fasteners. Those have all been eliminated because you don't need them. The material's outstanding. It's a lightweight nylon. It's laminated with special sauce that gives it a 10K hydrostatic head. It's breathable to a Ret 12 level, so it's a very waterproof material. It is breathable, so you won't wake up covered in sweat and condensation. When I set out to make the Zelter shelters, I knew the quality would have to be top-notch. This thing needs excellent build quality because people are going to rely on these, because I'm going to rely on these. So it's got to be well made. So I traveled around extensively to find the right people to work with on this, and I'm incredibly happy with how these products have turned out and how they're made. The people who are making this, they also make products for navies, for coast guards, for the airlines, everybody who demands the top compliance, the top quality, the top build construction. They're done right, made right by good people, the right machines, the right testing, the right compliance, so you can trust it. If you're going to take a look at the seams, the build quality is at the top of what you can do with this technology. So really, the end result is a product that is durable, that's long-lasting, is put together correctly. It's not going to let you down. One of the main things everybody's going to need to know is how big is the Zelter Shelter. Well, I'm 6'4", taller than most people. I fit in just fine. I made it for me and people taller. So here it is. It's 2.3 meters long when it's a tent. That's 7'7". It's a meter high and about 1.1 meters across. So nearly 4 feet across, 7'7" long. That's plenty for a tall person. If you're tall, it comes to a point, there's a bulge in the foot area, so you have a bit of foot room there. And that's it. If you stretch it all out to make a tarp, it's about 3.5 meters by 3.5 meters, a diamond-shaped tarp. And there you go, that's plenty of space to cover you up. Zelter as a brand, we're going to be working in the following kind of categories. We've debuted with the wearable Zelter Shelter, diversified in with the tent tarp version of it, and we're going to be sticking along the themes of shelter, of carry, and of wear. We've got a few new shelter concepts in the works. You'll hear about this soon. Carry involves bags, backpacks, load bearing, and we're going to be working towards some technical apparel, a few select pieces coming up in the near future. One thing you'll notice about Zelter equipment is we endeavor to use new technology and materials, modern methods. The Zelter Shelter is a non-traditional, it's a new kind of shelter. It's a new invention, there's really nothing like it. So yeah, using new materials and new production technology allows us to keep the weight down and give great performance. You're going to be seeing that in future Zelter products. New shelters, new bags, new packs and load bearing. We're going to see these modern methods applied. One thing that I especially like is having a little bit of a multifunctional device. Something that does a couple of things but does them well, where appropriate. That's something you're going to see from Zelter, so keep your eyes on us.